Hello, today it's time for another rant, I think, and I'm gonna talk about my favorite topic, AI, once again. I'm kidding, it's really not my favorite topic, but I guess there's so much to say about it these days. I want to focus on AI art and give my very warm temperature take on it. I don't like it. Actually, I hate it. Let me tell you why. First off, it takes away jobs from actual artists and people who are very passionate about their craft. And I feel like when AI takes jobs away from actual people, it's always bad. I understand evolution and technology and how some jobs are meant, quote unquote, to disappear in favor of other jobs. But with art, oh my, I really did not expect it when it came to AI technology. But I was dumb. Obviously, they were going to use AI instead of real people once they discovered that you can generate pretty much anything in 1 minute and do it for way cheaper, as opposed to paying an artist. And for me, that's the main issue, the fact that it just takes away jobs from passionate people trying to make a living. I mean, being an artist has always been something that you have to do when you're very passionate because it's very hard to actually make a living. It was already a battlefield and very hard and needs to grind a lot and maybe have a side job, which is also why I never even wanted to be an artist. Now with AI, it's just even worse. The second reason I don't like it, and I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, is the fact that, in my opinion, it's just plagiarism. Let's be honest here. We know where AI comes from. We know how they generate stuff. They learn from other people, and those people are humans. Now, sure, AI can copy other AI and they can learn on their own, but at its core, they need a ton of examples. And sure, they learn from everything, including people who died centuries ago, like sculptures, paintings, drawings, music, movies made years or decades ago. I get that. But do you really think that's it? Don't you think they also take inspiration from modern art? Obviously they do. And you can see that very easily when you try to do the AI art online. You have a ton of websites and they say, what style do you want? And for example, you have Ghibli style. You know those movies? Yeah, they can do art in that style. How do you think they learn that style? Obviously, they copy it. And that's my second issue with AI art. It is that people always cry, and by people I mean companies, copyright issues in the music industry, even on YouTube. I think you've heard of this thing that always happens to some content creators where they have 10-second music and then a company just slaps their video and they're like, hey, give me money or remove that 10-second clip from your video. And now the same companies are hiring AI, and I say hiring, but not really, they just use it. So I hate that hypocrisy because I don't see a lot of people talking about that, but it is what it is. AI art is plagiarism. And although I'm sure some artists are very okay with their art being part of it and help AI learn and generate more creative things, I think a lot of artists do not want that. They don't want their work to be used as training and integrated into the database of a random AI to make art. And I feel like if we want a change and regulation on AI one day, I think we should push that side of the story saying, hey, this is plagiarism. We don't consent to our art being used to make things. And it is crazy to me that nobody talks about it. At least I haven't seen too much discussion about it. It's usually like, oh, AI art is bad and it's cheap and it's not good, it's unethical. But this is going to change. We won't be able to tell AI art from actual art at some point. And if AI is no longer able to learn from us, at one point AI is not going to be good enough anymore. And I feel like companies are betting on that very gray area and the fact that people don't really talk about it too much. At least not publicly, but I hope behind the scenes there are actual discussions. I know the counter argument is going to be, well, they just take inspiration, like any artist would. You're not gonna sue an artist even if they take inspiration from another work, because all artists do that all the time. They learn from other artists, they replicate their style until they find their own. it is what it is, and AI is doing just that. This, I would agree if the AI did something original and found their own style, but it's not really what it is. They just replicate something and create a new version in the same genre or style that you're trying to make when you use AI. And if you don't agree that it is plagiarism, I think the copyright argument can still stand, because at the very least, the artist should be aware that their art is going to be used and integrated into the database. And I feel like some artists should be able to say, no, I don't want my art to be used by AI. I wonder what's your take on that? Do you think it's not plagiarism? Do you think they just take inspiration like any human would? Personally, I don't think so, but I'm open to discuss. I just feel like if we want to stop AI art being pushed so much, we have to have a few big artists saying, don't use my art to train your AI. And I think that's how we can stop this madness, in my opinion. Because if they don't have enough examples, at some point it's gonna be the same. So it's like this uncreative artist that just replicates everything, doing what everyone else did. At some point, it's not gonna work anymore because people are going to get tired of it. And that's how AI art will die. When it's no longer interesting and it's so obvious it is AI because it's always the same shit, But if they keep learning and learning, then every newcomer artist that posts their art on the internet are gonna be used by AI, and AI is gonna advance at the same time as they do. But anyway, that's the second point. And lastly, it just kills creativity in my opinion. There are things a computer is really good at, and I think making art is not. It's the last thing I would ever think. Using artificial intelligence to make art. I understand why people do this, because it's cheap and it's fast, but it really reveals something to me, and it's back to the first point, is the fact that companies and people who do not really care about art or artists in general, well, they don't care about art and artists in general. They just want the end product. They don't care about the craft and the passion behind it and the heart and soul poured into the piece of art, whether it's music or a drawing or a movie. They don't really see the point in having a real person producing the work. But I'm gonna give you an example. Imagine, you have your best friend, they're getting married, and you're like, I'm gonna make a song for them. Back in the days, you would spend weeks trying to make the song yourself, having something fun, something interesting for them, personal, or maybe even hire an artist to make the song with you or for you. But now with AI, you can do it in 5 minutes. And you might think it's gonna be the same result. Nice, fun, goofy song to play for 3 minutes at the wedding. I feel like it's just not the same, especially if you do it as a gift. I think it's easy to forget the spatial nature of something DIY, do-it-yourself. Yeah, it takes time and effort sometimes, but it's not the same to tell your body, oh, I made the song myself, or I found this artist and I spent money on this, as opposed to, what, I went on the internet and I used AI, and in 5 minutes, boom. I'm sure the best friend is gonna say, well, that's great and appreciate it regardless, but it's not the same feeling. To know that someone put time or money into a project that they did for you. And for the person creating the thing, it's also not the same sense of accomplishment. Between, reaching out and working with an artist, commissioning something, and just sitting and asking AI to generate a bunch of songs and you try them all, like, you're at the supermarket trying to buy different brand of cookies or whatever. It's not the same to go to a bakery shop and really make this very special cake. I don't know why I use an example for an example, but you know what I mean? I think we forget this process that's very important in making art or whatever, even like crafting something. When you build your own computer as opposed to buy it, there is a sense of accomplishment and care and heart put into it. And this, I think, has a lot of value. And with AI, we're gonna lose this. So some people might not care, but I do think it's something special that humans have, and it's sad to see that we may lose it at some point. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Again, fear-mongering, oh my god, AI, but for real, that's a shame that they could have done anything with AI, but instead they chose to use it to replace artists who are already very much underpaid. And those people are passionate. They're not trying to be rich or whatever, usually. They may dream about it, but the average artist, I think they struggle a lot, and they do it because they enjoy it. And so it's kind of sad that now this craft is going to be even more, I don't want to say obsolete, but very hard to make a living if that's actually what you like doing. But yeah, anyway, I hope AI art will die.